She walked onto The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills in season 7 like she owned the place. The accent, this impossible mashup of British, American, and something nobody could quite identify, hit the audience before anything else did. Then came the fashion. Head-to-toe designer everything. Chanel in confessionals. Hermes at dinner parties. Custom gowns at charity events nobody had ever heard of. She had the nannies. She had the glam squad. She had the husband with the British accent and the music industry connections. She had the house. She had the lifestyle. And she had the audacity to walk into a room full of Beverly Hills women who had been doing this for years and act like she was the one who was going to teach them how to live. For 9 seasons, Dorit Kemsley sold the fantasy harder than anyone on the show. Harder than Kyle. Harder than Erica. Harder than Lisa Vanderpump at her peak. Dorit didn't just wear designer. She made designer her entire identity. Her wardrobe was her storyline. Her fashion was her personality. Strip away the Chanel and the Hermes and the Louis Vuitton and the accent and the glam and the hair and the nails, and there was nothing left. No business empire like Bethany, no legal drama like Erica, no family dynasty like Kyle. Just clothes. Beautiful, expensive, head-turning clothes that, as it turns out, she may not have been able to afford. And now, in May 2026, the woman who built her entire brand on the illusion of wealth, $6.5 million home, get auctioned off because she allegedly spent nearly $1 million on designer fashion while not making a single mortgage payment. The downfall is complete. And if you've been watching Dorit play pretend for the last 9 years, it is deeply, undeniably satisfying. Let's go back to the beginning because the cracks were there from day one. Most people don't know this, but Dorit's husband PK declared bankruptcy in the United Kingdom in 2012, 4 years before Dorit ever appeared on Rob. He owed over £2 million in gambling debts. His business ventures had collapsed. He was, by his own admission, financially destroyed. When he met Dorit, he was rebuilding from scratch. And yet, from the very first episode of season 7, they presented themselves as Beverly Hills royalty. The house, the cars, the wardrobe, the lifestyle, none of it came with an asterisk. None of it came with a disclaimer. None of it came with the context that the man paying for half of it had been bankrupt just a few years earlier. The fantasy was always built on sand. It just took 9 seasons for the tide to come in. Throughout her time on the show, Dorit's finances were questioned repeatedly, but always behind her back, never to her face. Castmates whispered about it, fan forums dissected it. The Instagram account @TheRealBadFashions flagged multiple pieces from Dorit's wardrobe as potentially inauthentic. Industry insiders questioned how a woman with no visible income beyond her Bravo salary could sustain the kind of wardrobe she was projecting. But Dorit never addressed it. She just kept showing up in new outfits. She kept posting hauls. She kept acting like the money was infinite. And for a long time, the audience either believed her or didn't care enough to push back. Then came the home invasion. In October 2021, armed intruders broke into the Encino mansion while Dorit and her 2 children, Jagger and Phoenix, were sleeping. She was held at gunpoint. Over $100,000 in handbags and jewelry were stolen. The incident was terrifying, traumatic, and genuinely heartbreaking. Whatever people thought about her finances or her fashion, nobody deserved what happened to her that night. The sympathy was real. The support was universal. But here's the part that makes the current situation so infuriating in hindsight. $100,000 in designer bags and jewelry were stolen in 2021. And between December 2024 and March 2026, according to court documents filed by PK's legal team, Dorit allegedly spent $995,270 replacing them, nearly $1 million on wardrobe in 14 months, while making 0 mortgage payments on the house where those bags were stolen from. She had her designer collection robbed at gunpoint, and then she spent 10 times the stolen amount restocking the closet while the house itself was being taken away by the bank. But it's real, it's in court documents. And it's the foundation of the most spectacular financial collapse in Housewives history. The numbers are devastating. PK's legal team obtained Dorit's bank statements through subpoenas and laid everything out. $68,000 at Louis Vuitton, $70,000 at Chanel, $38,000 at Hermes, $21,000 at Net-a-Porter, $22,000 at Saint Honor, $6,000 at Gucci, $10,000 at Point. One filing alleges she spent $180,000 in a single day, hitting Hermes, Chanel, and Louis Vuitton back to back to back. Attorney Ronald Richards broke down the full picture on Instagram. The remaining $2,834,000 went exclusively to her personal benefit, Meanwhile, the mortgage went unpaid. Default notices were filed, and the house started sliding toward foreclosure. The house itself tells the story of the downfall. Dorit and PK purchased nearly 9,000 square foot Encino property in August 2019 for $6,475,000. They used multiple unconventional lenders to make the purchase. Not a single traditional bank mortgage, but a patchwork of private money loans and LLCs. That alone was a red flag. Wealthy people with strong credit don't typically use private money lenders with 13.99% interest rates. People who can't qualify for traditional financing do. In January 2026, two of those lenders, Tonka LLC and Private Money Solutions, filed a default notice stating Dorit owed $842,376. She hadn't made a payment since September 2025. A separate default notice, filed in December 2025 by Prime Recon LLC, revealed a $5.2 million mortgage with $294,000 in missed payments. The second mortgage of $750,000 at 13.99% interest had matured in September 2025 and was never paid off. As of May 15, 2026, the total owed on just the second mortgage was $895,965. The house that Dorit was using as the backdrop for her Bravo lifestyle was drowning in debt from every direction. Then came the text. Court documents obtained by TMZ revealed the private communication between Dorit and PK, and they read like a slow-motion car crash between two people who despise each other. PK confronts Dorit about the spending. He tells her the bank statements are incredibly troubling. He lays out the numbers store by store. Dorit's response? She says she's not interested in reading a long, drawn-out text message. She calls PK an addict. She accuses him of being absent for 2 years. She sends a prepared-sounding statement about his impulsive, short-sighted choices. She deflects. She attacks. She does everything except address the spending. When PK offers to let Dorit and the children move into his rental while the house is sold, Dorit's response goes viral. Over my fucking dead body. She would rather lose the house to foreclosure than accept help from the man she was divorcing. The pride, the stubbornness, the delusion, it was all there in 5 words. The children got dragged in next. Court documents include texts between PK and his 10-year-old daughter Phoenix, in which the child asks her father to book a spring break vacation. The exchange ends with Phoenix writing, "Mommy pays for everything." PK's legal team alleges Dorit coached Phoenix to pressure him financially. He called it deeply troubling in sworn testimony. Whether Dorit actually coached her daughter, or whether Phoenix was simply repeating what she'd heard at home, is something only the family knows. But the fact that a child's text messages are now in a federal court filing is devastating, regardless of the interpretation. The spring break trip became another flashpoint. Dorit allegedly demanded $100,000 for a vacation to Mexico with the 2 children. When PK pushed back, family friend Justin Levine attempted to mediate. According to Levine's sworn declaration, Dorit became highly agitated and warned that if PK didn't meet her demands, she would disclose private information about him publicly. $100,000 for spring break. And blackmail if you don't pay. That's not co-parenting. That's extortion with a tropical backdrop. Then the electricity allegedly got cut off. Dorit accused PK of shutting off power to the nearly 9,000 square foot mansion where 2 children live. The image of a $6 million home sitting in darkness while kids sleep inside it is the single most damning visual of this entire saga. On May 20th, the house was supposed to be auctioned. The countdown had been public for weeks. Ronald Richards was posting daily updates. The internet was watching. And then, at the last minute, someone made a payment. The auction was postponed. Richards confirmed his suspicion that PK had graciously come forward to save the house for Dorit and his children for now. He emphasized the word graciously because PK had no legal obligation to help. Dorit's LLC owns the house. They're legally separated. She earns more money than he does. And yet he stepped in anyway, for the children. Richards added that it is very likely the money Paul advanced to delay the sale will never be recovered or repaid by Dorit. He saved her house. She'll probably never pay him back. The new auction date is June 3, 2026 at 10:30 a.m. 5 days from now. Richards said he believes Dorit will sign documents in the next 2 weeks to resolve the situation, but he also made clear that her spending problem is the root cause of everything. He wrote, Dorit has a spending problem and cannot service her non-conforming high-interest loans and needs to move out so the property can be sold. Paul had no legal obligation to help Dorit, but he did it for the benefit of his kids and to save Dorit from herself. That last line, to save Dorit from herself, is the most devastating summary of this entire downfall. Because that's what this is. It's not PK's fault. It's not Bravo's fault. It's not the economy's fault. It's not the lender's fault. This is a woman who had access to $3.5 million and spent 79% of it on herself while making zero mortgage payments. This is a woman who earns at least $166,000 per month and couldn't, or wouldn't, pay her own bills. This is a woman who had every resource, every opportunity, and every warning sign handed to her on a silver platter, and she chose Chanel every single time. PK was caught by paparazzi on May 20th, the day the auction was supposed to happen. A photographer asked if he was really broke. PK snapped, "No, I'm richer than you." The clip went viral immediately. For a man whose attorney describes his net cash flow as $40,000, the line landed somewhere between defiant and delusional. But it also captured something real. He's the one who made the last-minute payment. He's the one whose children are living in that house. And he's the one who had to watch his estranged wife spend $1 million on clothes while he scrambled to keep the roof from being auctioned. 2 days before the auction, Camille Grammer went on the Humble Brag podcast and called Dorit a monster. She said Dorit was super sweet when she first joined the show, but that fame changed her. She said Dorit's head blew up. She said she felt bad for PK. She said the show had become redundant and boring, partly because Dorit's financial storyline had been recycled for multiple seasons. And she said what the audience had been thinking for months: Dorit is unraveling, and nobody can stop it. Meanwhile, Dorit was doing a press tour for her memoir, Unburdened. In an extra TV interview, she was asked point-blank if she spent $1 million. She said no, then immediately said she loves fashion, spends a lot on designer clothes, and it's her money. She claimed PK never told her to rein in the spending, directly contradicted by the text messages in court filings where PK sends her a spreadsheet of her own purchases. She claimed she was blindsided by the foreclosure, contradicted by her own texts asking PK about the arrears months before the story went public. She said she wanted an amicable divorce and a peaceful friendship with PK, while court documents show her calling him an addict, threatening to expose private information, and refusing to leave the house by saying, "Over my fucking dead body." The credit card moment on Robe was the cherry on top. During a recent episode, Dorit's card was declined at a boutique in the Hamptons. She blamed it on a fraud alert. But for viewers who had been following the foreclosure story, the moment was devastating. The woman who spent nearly $1 million on designer fashion couldn't get a credit card approved at a store. Whether it was genuinely a fraud alert or something more, the optics were catastrophic. And that's what makes this downfall so satisfying for the audience. Not because people enjoy watching someone suffer. Most fans genuinely feel terrible for Jagger and Phoenix, who are caught in the middle of a nightmare they didn't create. What makes it satisfying is the accountability. For 9 seasons, Dorit projected an image that the court documents prove was a lie. She dressed like a billionaire, while her house was financed through high-interest private money lenders. She flaunted wealth while her husband had previously been bankrupt. She lectured other women about lifestyle and fashion, while allegedly not paying her own bills. And when the truth finally came out, not through gossip or speculation but through subpoenaed bank statements and sworn court filings, the gap between who Dorit pretended to be and who she actually is became impossible to ignore. Bravo profited from this fantasy for 9 seasons. They featured Dorit's wardrobe in press coverage and promotional materials. They aired confessional after confessional of her dressed in tens of thousands of dollars worth of couture. They never questioned where the money came from. They sold the illusion. And now they get to film the collapse. They profit from the rise and they profit from the fall. That's the business model. And Dorit is its latest and most spectacular casualty. June 3rd is 5 days away. The auction clock is ticking. The debt is accruing at 13.99% interest. The LLC that owns the house is suspended by the franchise tax board. The divorce is ongoing. The children are in the middle. Ronald Richards is posting daily updates. Camille Grammer is calling her a monster on podcasts. PK is snapping at photographers. And the woman at the center of it all is promoting a book called Unburdened, while carrying more financial, legal, and reputational weight than any housewife in the history of the franchise. Dorit Kemsley joined Rob in Season 7 as the fashionable new girl with the killer wardrobe and the mysterious accent. 9 seasons later, she's the cautionary tale. The woman who performed wealth so convincingly that she forgot it was a performance. The woman who spent so much money pretending to be rich that she lost the house she was pretending in. and the woman whose own 10-year-old daughter had to text her father asking for vacation money because mommy pays for everything, except, apparently, the mortgage. The fantasy is over, the receipts are public. And the downfall, after 9 seasons of watching Dorit play dress-up while the bills piled up behind the designer curtain, is the most satisfying unraveling the Real Housewives franchise has ever produced. Drop a comment and let us know, is the June 3rd auction the end of the road, or will someone save her again? Like, subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.